Hi, this is Allison Hawkins with the Alliance for Charitable Reform, and I'm here with Pat Reed. Pat Reed is an independent consultant, and she has worked on policy issues with nonprofits for more than 30 years. So she's a real expert. She's going to be at our annual meeting this October, and we are pleased to talk with her today. Pat, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, Allison. Great to be here.
All right, Pat, today we're going to talk about the issue of exemptions. It's becoming a little bit of a hot topic. There's been a lot of activity in the UK on this. What's this all about and where's it going?
Well, there was indeed a little storm over the UK this spring when the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is sort of our Secretary of the Treasury, proposed limiting the tax deductions that wealthier taxpayers could take for their charitable contributions, which sounds familiar here in the United States, similar to something that President Obama has proposed in several times for the last 3 years. Now, the Chancellor withdrew his proposal after there was very strong criticism, even from members of his own party. But, you know, these debates keep coming up, and there are lots of questions that were left unanswered in the UK and here in the United States.
So do you see these proposals going anywhere on Capitol Hill? There have been some hearings about tax reform. Where's this going?
Well, you know, these particular proposals have a lot of opposition, but you know that virtually every plan that has come up to address the fiscal condition in the United States includes some kind of change to the tax deductions for charitable contributions. And the discussion in the United Kingdom just give us a little bit more food for thought as far as the questions that are coming up here. Do tax deductions really work to increase giving, or do they simply reward people for gifts they would have made anyway? And is it fair to ask some taxpayers to subsidize the gifts of other taxpayers, especially if they don't think that the charities they support are particularly worthy or good? And that, of course, leads to the question of what is a worthy charity anyway, and what benefit do nonprofits provide to the community? A lot of people are asking those questions today.
Well, that could be an interesting discussion because, as you know, the nonprofit sector is very diverse. We've got museums and we've got hospitals, soup kitchens. So we seem like we're heading towards pitting charitable causes against one another. And so that leads to who gets to decide what is the worthy community benefit and who sets the standard?
Well, you know, who gets to decide is a difficult question. It can be state and local, or it can be at the federal government, it can be courts, it can be lots of things. The IRS first set the definition sort of a community benefit for hospitals back in 1969, and most of the work around community benefit has revolved around hospitals, where people equate community benefit with free services or low-cost services to low-income or low-income populations. Now, recently, Illinois, which has actually revoked the property tax exemption for a number of hospitals that they determined did not provide enough free care to people. And recently, in the middle of June, they passed and enacted legislation that said that the dollar value of services that hospitals provide to low-income communities has to be equal to or greater than the amount that they would have owed in property taxes, or they could lose their property tax exemption. Now, you know, many arts organizations, especially museums, performing arts organizations like orchestras and dance companies, have been working hard to communicate their value to the general population, to people that are going to vote for and talk to politicians. So they've been talking about their value in terms of economic contributions, jobs, businesses that surround them. They've been talking about the services they provide to low-income and underserved populations. And they've also been talking a lot about how you measure their value in terms of enhancing the quality of life for all people in a community. And that's a tough one, and it's better told often by the people who support and use you. So they've been doing some very interesting work in terms of enhancing their communications.
Well, that's important. That's something that we talk about significantly because it is important to let Congress know the value of your charitable work and why it's important and how it's uniquely American. Are there other states that are getting into these issues that we should be aware of?
You know, absolutely. There have been some issues. It seems like we read a story every week of another state or local community that's questioning who should be exempt from property and sales taxes. There have been some famous court cases in Minnesota where they equated the value of community benefit with free services. Other states like California have looked at the value of community benefit in terms of what benefit is provided to people in a particular local community or state. That's pretty tough for foundations and nonprofits that operate on a national or international basis to keep track of. We've got 2 states, Montana and Indiana, where their legislators have asked for studies of who qualifies for tax exemption and who should qualify. So we're going to be watching closely to see what those studies show and whether that really has implications for federal decisions about who qualifies for tax exemption and who's eligible to receive tax-deductible contributions.
Well, these will certainly be events to watch. And you raise an issue that is very important, and that is the issue of property taxes. And that will be the subject of our next interview. So we are looking forward to that. Thank you very much for your time today, Pat. And we will see you next time when we talk about property taxes.
Great talking to you, Allison.
Thank you.